So who are you?
I'm Jordan Kretchmer, CEO and co-founder of LiveFyre.
FriendFeed's been out there for 2 years that has the live style chat, but it's really hard to just find the tech conversations. And I love how you've solved that. Tell me a little bit about how you solved that.
So FriendFeed, like Twitter, is more about people, like friending people and following people.
Yep.
From the ground up, we wanted to build this to be more about topic-based following, so based around interests. Which is why what do you want to talk about is the primary call to action, and it's not a feed of what people are saying; it's a feed of the conversations that are happening.
Yeah.
And it really gives you the ability to filter through what's interesting to you. And so when you search for something, let's say tech, it adds what we call a stack to the top of the page that's sticky. So every time you come back to the site, it shows you the newest tech fires that are happening right now. So you can jump into those conversations. We're building a notification system that also will tell you, hey, a new fire started that's interesting to you. You should jump on in. And so the idea long term is to be a little bit of a content distributor as well, cluing you into conversations that are happening that are relevant to you.
Yeah. Do you have a search engine component of this? So can I search for the word Obama in all conversations, for instance?
So you can search. So right now, the search doesn't parse into the conversation. Okay. The search stays very top level, keywords and titles and article that the conversation is based on, or video or whatever it is.
Okay.
And so you can search for those keywords. Like, Obama would bring up, I think last time I checked, there's like 35 fires happening about Obama.
Yeah. And it shows live on the page, right? So I don't need to refresh the page to see new comments. Right?
Absolutely. So it's a live feed. So all of the comments come in a live stream. And the purpose there was to create a quicker back and forth. We want these to feel almost like, when we first launched, we used the word intelligent a lot, but we really do want it to feel like an intelligent chat, where you have a certain level of quality on Twitter because people are sharing with people, and their reputation is being built through Twitter, and so we wanted to incorporate a little bit of that, and so we do have a character limit at 300 characters. But the intention there is to give people more space. It's totally arbitrary, by the way, the number. It turns out to work very, very well. But we want to give people a little bit more space to say what's on their mind about a certain topic, to respond to an argument that somebody else has made. But at the same time, we want it to be fast-paced. And so 300, the character limit kind of gives us that, but then the live feed also gives you that as well, that sort of fast-paced meets thoughtfulness thing.
It's something most people don't know is I used to help run Leo Laporte's chat room, IRC chat room in the mid-90s when he was on KG.
You were a mod?
I was a Laportian, we call him, right? So cool. We were a mod. And one thing I've always seen about in fact, I was on his IRC chat yesterday, was IRC chat always starts out with great utility because you start out with 3 interesting people in a room and you're having a lot of fun. And then somebody new comes in and oftentimes they dilute the conversation. I mean, imagine you had a conversation with Barack Obama, right? That conversation would be the most amazing conversation you've ever had in your life. And somebody else comes in, they're going to dilute it, unless it's Bill Gates, But most people will dilute it or reduce the utility of it or increase the noise. And then eventually bad actors show up. If the conversation is so interesting and is getting such a large audience, that it drags in spammers and bad actors, people who want to disrupt the conversation. In IRC, the ability to ban things is not good enough. And that's sort of why I like Twitter or Facebook, because I can really, really ban people, get rid of them, because their identity is so built up around them that if you ban them, they can't come in and fake another identity and come back into the chat.
So it's something we've thought about a lot. I mean, we, in our position right now, having the luxury of being new, we don't see those bad actors, yet.
You will.
We will. But so we've got a couple of things built in and a couple of things just in the hopper that will roll out when it happens. And right now the barrier to entry of sign up is pretty low. Yeah. We've got capture ready to roll out as soon as we need to. So that's from a very baseline perspective. But conceptually, you can burn people. And so it's almost like, remember the old IM, you used to warn people, and you could warn somebody out of existence, basically. Yeah. And so we've built a similar system, except I can't burn you out of existence, but 2 other people in the fire with me can burn you out of existence. So if you say something terrible or you're a spammer, we can burn you. You can get burned out of the fire and blocked from commenting any further in that fire. beyond that, if it happens a lot, we can, of course, kill your account.
Yeah.
The idea here is to create an environment similar to Twitter, where you don't want to be banned, right? Where it actually does affect your reputation. And that's why during sign up, we love that we give people the option to tie to Twitter, tie to Facebook. Yep. And the reason for that is to keep that reputation, sort of like borrow on the reputation that they've built on Twitter or through their friends on Facebook, and hope that helps keep the quality a little higher and keep the spammers out. We're going to get them. And we have other things that we'll be doing when that happens to help moderate that and give power to users. The idea here, again, from the very beginning is curation, not moderation.
Yeah.
We feel like is really, really important. And so giving users the ability to curate what they're seeing, to silence certain users that they just don't want to hear from ever, is going to be something that we'll be bringing in. And so there are other things like that we'll be doing along the way to help as we grow.
The other problem with chat is often we'll start out really interesting talking about, let's say, tech, and then somewhere along the line somebody will bring up religion or politics or something, right? And the whole conversation will fork.
Right.
And now we're talking about healthcare, not tech, right?
So I didn't even show you the breakout feature. You snuck a peek, but the UI of chat has been broken for a long, long time. The UI of chat has not improved since IRC.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is this idea of, you get 5 people in a room even, and it can be messy. Somebody just talking on top of each other. You might have 3 people having a conversation with 2 other people having a different conversation to each other, but it's all like meshed together.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of time on UI and created a feature that we have a feeling is going to be copied. And we can see, a lot of other competitive chat systems coming into our users and asking them what they like, and the answer is always breakouts. I love the breakouts. And so in any Fyre, you can start a breakout. So if the conversation is about Obama, let's say it's about healthcare reform in particular, but then somebody brings up healthcare in Canada, you can start a breakout, which is literally a sideline conversation that is, if we treated our healthcare system just like Canada, it would be successful. What do you think, right? And people can comment on that as a sideline while the mainstream of conversation is happening in the midst of it.
That's really useful, because if you ever get more than 100 people in one chat and going at one time, like Leo does this, he has 200, 300, 500 people in one chat. It goes way too fast. It goes too fast for me, and I'm a speed reader, and I have big screens. And if it's going too fast for me, it's going way too fast for somebody following it on an iPhone or on a smaller screen.
And so what happens is the breakouts create sort of like a channel. And so the behavior we've seen is if we have 30 people in a Fyre, and somebody starts a breakout, 10 of those people from that main Fyre will jump into the breakout. And the more breakouts you have, the more like organization you have with the people. It's like, if I only want to talk about Canadian healthcare, then I can do that right here. And I don't worry about the other breakouts or this here. But all the breakouts are treated like little IM windows.
Yeah.
So when somebody updates a comment in any of the breakouts, it blinks. Yeah. So you can see. You can also mute a breakout. So if you don't want to hear, you don't want that breakout to blink anymore because you're never interested in it, you mute it. And it just basically treats it as it's not there. So it's pretty cool.
Google Wave came out this year, and
what's that?
Google Wave, and it's shown us that there's a way to chat in or have live conversations, but put videos and pictures and other things in there. What do you think about just that?
We actually have been talking with the guys over at Dropio. Yep. Sam Lesson.
Yep.
And they're very interested in working with us on an API that creates on the fly, storage systems where we can create previews and then link off to the actual media. So what we already do, every link, and this is sort of the beginning version of that, every link that's posted in the Fyre is aggregated. On the bottom left, there's a Fyre links section.
That's cool.
So throughout the entire conversation, we have some conversations. We have some Fyres where there's 25 or 30 links aggregated.
Yeah.
The Boeing 787 live, the Dreamliner, the first flight, we were the #1 search result on real time for Google in Google, and so we got a lot of traffic and people coming in and posting pictures from the actual landing site of the plane landing. People posting videos of the plane landing and all of this stuff right into the Fyre. And so you can watch, if you go to the first link that was posted in the Fyre, and then you go up, you watch the progression throughout the 3 or 4 hour period that this Fyre burned of what was going on with the Dreamliner. And so it's really cool. It creates a massive archive of information, not about one particular article, but about a particular topic. which is something that's very unique.
Wow, wow. Can brands create their own look and feel? Like if Boeing wanted to own that conversation, could they create a Boeing Fyre?
So we've got two things coming. One is the ability to create pages. So right now you can have livefyre.com/u/Scoble, right? And that gives what it is right at this moment is a very top level profile page. What it's going to be in the coming weeks is a more in-depth page with all your conversations and your latest comments that you've said and all of this stuff. We're going to be expanding that to brands, and very, very soon.
Do you have any thoughts on how advertising can change when you're surrounding ads or surrounding live chat with ads?
Yeah. So it's a bigger conversation, the whole advertising thing. It's my background is product and brand. Yeah. And it was really important to me, and my co-founder is Henry Arlander, and both of us come from that world. It was really, really important to us to build brands into this experience and think about it from the very beginning, because we know eventually we're going to have to do it. Eventually, some way, shape, or form, we're going to have to integrate with advertisers if we ever want to have a chance of making any revenue. And so
revenue's a good thing.
Revenue's a great thing, and we don't think those two things are at odds. Those things work together very, very well.
Yeah.
If the brands are adding value, it's something that I say, and the people outside of the branding, marketing world are like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like if brands can add value to the experience, then the users win and the brands win.
Right.
And so right now we've launched with a straight up display ad model, and we have a couple more advertisers coming on board in the next few weeks. But it's really simple display advertising. We're going to be rolling out an ad platform that actually integrates advertisers into the conversations, not in an intrusive way, but in the way that Mini Cooper can start a conversation about the coolest places to drive in San Francisco, right? And people can come in and add their thoughts, and they can interact. Sprint can start a conversation about what do you look for most in a cell phone or a cell phone provider, and actually get some interesting, probably very real feedback on what people feel about the cell phone market. So, and all of any banners on the site within the coming months will be driving to those conversations, not driving outside to a microsite or anything like that. So,
how are you guys funded? Tell me a little bit about
bootstrapped.
Totally bootstrapped?
Our savings accounts.
Really?
Yeah. So we've taken a little bit of friends and family angel.
Yeah.
In the form of bridge loans.
Cool.
But we're looking to close a round in the near future.
Very cool.
So.
And how are you hosted? What's your infrastructure like?
So right now we're right.
Will it stick up? Will it
I
stay
feel
up?
like I should just start walking out the door right now. Right now.
Are you on Amazon? Is that
we're on Amazon.
Boo.
EC2.
Yeah.
We're on EC2.
That's the new way to start a company, is on cloud. So.
You have to be on the cloud. I mean, in our situation, and what we experienced the other day was, for those of you that don't know, Scoble crashed a big chat that we had by tweeting about it, which we both love to see, and of course they didn't like it so much, but it was good for us. It was a big wake up call, and it really got us thinking about how we architected, which is we put beta on the site, but really, I mean, we should have put pre-beta. And beyond that, we are open to other hosting solutions.
Excellent. I know some people. My people will call your people.
Yeah. And I think for Twitter to go and do something like this is a complete reorganization of not just their UI, but the whole concept of why they exist. They're great at broadcasting, and we're not trying to compete in the broadcasting space. Content distribution, yes. In the future, once we hit a critical mass, it allows us to distribute content on a much more massive scale than we can right now.
Yeah.
But definitely not in the broadcast space, meaning broadcasting short-form messages to millions and millions of people all at once. We're not interested in that. We rely on Twitter right now to broadcast the fact that these conversations are happening, and Facebook as well. For them to jump over and start doing something like this, I mean, I'm not the expert, but when we decided to quit our day jobs and focus on this as not just a side project, but a full-time, and actually treat it like a company, we thought about Twitter, and to the best of our knowledge from the people we've talked to, it doesn't seem like this is something that is in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It would break their model so much. And be so jarring to the massive user base that they have. It's like turning, we have the ability right now to sort of turn on a dime. Twitter can't turn on a dime. I mean, look at
Well, it could buy you.
Look, it could buy us. It could buy us. If anybody's interested already, you guys give us a call. You know, and you know, obviously, you know, anybody could at this point, but we don't see them competing with us right now as much as we have other competitors that we consider a little bit closer.
Real-time search, I think, is going to be important, especially if brands engage with you, because if somebody mentions Coca-Cola deep into a chat, Coca-Cola wants to know that, right?
Yes.
And wants to be warned, hey, somebody's talking about Coca-Cola, get involved in this chat down deep, you know.
Yeah, so it's not only part of our search model, but it's also part of our advertising model.
Yeah.
That will happen, and we're never going to do in-stream ads. We are not going to do in-stream ads.
Why not?
We think it's intrusive, frustrating, annoying. It's almost like somebody.
I've seen like Meebo do that, or is it Meebo that does in-stream ads?
Don't care. We're not doing it. We care about the stream a whole lot. We care about the quality of the conversation a whole lot, and we say that, and we're never going to have crappy advertisers either. We're not going to, you know, you're never going to see them, you know, hit the monkey over the head banner on our site. It's not going to happen. We're going to have high quality advertisers that love high quality conversation, that want to engage users and consumers in high quality conversation with themselves. We know users want that conversation with brands. We know brands want that back, want that feedback in return. And you know, it's very important to us that we don't, you know, hurt the conversation by, you know, tossing ads in just based on what people are saying. Yeah. It doesn't mean we're not going to allow for real-time search and attaching, you know, display ads to the side, you know, from that. But it's definitely not going to be in stream.
The other reason I need real-time search is I'm seeing a class of new curation, professional curators, Huffington Post, Leo Laporte, me. We're watching this real-time world go on, and we're pulling out nuggets of things that are happening, and we want to share those with our readers or our viewers and curate them and comment on them.
So if you're connected to your Twitter account, then all the comments, it says tweet this. You can click tweet this and tweet a direct quote from a Fyre out. You can also copy and paste for right now. And Fyres are always there, and so the URL is always constant. And so you can always go back and access, you know, those Fyres and add to them to the end of time if you wanted to.
Does each item have its own URL?
Each item does not have its own URL yet. We really, I mean, obviously, you know, wanted to get our core product out, but all of these things, everything you've asked about is in a list.
Yeah.
You know, and it is important to us to be able to treat each of these comments like they're, you know, like they're individual pieces of content.
Very cool.
And so we'll be moving towards that, you know, but for right now, you can take anything you want out of the Fyre and post it anywhere you want. Fyre feeds are going to be a big feature. It's what you're talking about is what we call Fyre feeds, where you can take, you can curate a feed or a stream of comments, and you can decide whether it's just the comments that have been liked in a certain Fyre or just, you know, the newest comments from a certain Fyre into a widget that you can put on your blog, that you can put anywhere really. All of it is on the paper.
Very cool. Where do we find more information about it and try it out?
So LiveFyre.com. It's Fyre with a Y.
Okay.
There's plenty of information on there, but it's a pretty low cost of entry to understand what's going on. I mean, you get there, and you know the featured conversations are primary, and then you can go to the breaking conversations, the breaking Fyres, which are all of the newest tab, and you know, hop right in.
Very cool.
Doesn't take a lot. So
thank you very much for coming
yeah,
out.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.